Explaining football to the friend who's just there for the nachos? Hard. Tailgating from home like a pro with snacks and drinks everyone will love? An easy win. And with Instacart helping deliver the snack time MVPs to your door, you're ready for the game in as fast as 30 minutes. So you never miss a play or lose your seat on the couch or have to go head-to-head for the last chicken wing. Shop game day faves on Instacart and enjoy $0 delivery fees on your first 3 grocery orders. Offer valid for a limited time. Other fees and terms apply.
7 things you don't really need to know, but probably should. I'm Kira Revan, and this is the Sunday 7.
On this week's episode of the award-winning Sunday 7, we discover what NASA's plans for Jupiter are. Will Guyatt explains why Mark Zuckerberg got cranky this week. We go hunting for great white sharks off the coast of France and hear about AI innovation for Alzheimer's patients. Remember, if you're enjoying this episode, please do like and follow us. We're here 7 days a week at 7 a.m. with the 7 biggest stories on the Smart 7. Before we start, it was on this day in 1879, Thomas Edison demonstrated the first commercial electric light bulb at the Menlo Park Laboratory. He wasn't the first to invent electric lighting, but the key innovation he developed was the carbon filament, which meant that his first bulb burned for 40 hours. He tested over 6,000 different materials and conducted over 1,200 experiments before finally settling on what was a carbonised piece of sewing thread. And so we have the modern light bulb. It seems certain that we are in a new golden age of space exploration, from the billionaire space race to the growth of a commercial space industry and the reinvigoration of NASA under Administrator Bill Nelson. The US Space Agency has an ambitious program which will see moon landings, Mars exploration, and they're also looking further afield. The next item on their to-do list is Jupiter, and this week saw the launch of the Europa Clipper, intended to explore Jupiter's moon.
And liftoff. Liftoff of Falcon Heavy with Europa Clipper, unveiling the mysteries of an enormous ocean lurking beneath the icy crust of Jupiter's moon, Europa.
Engine chamber pressures are nominal.
The spacecraft will travel 1.8 billion miles to reach its destination, but it's on a complicated trajectory which sees it swing past Mars and then Earth again before it arrives at Europa in 2030. Europa has an enormous salty ocean underneath an icy crust, and scientists believe that it could prove to be a habitable environment and that it may even have signs of life. Jenna Kampmeier is the Europa Clipper Project Science Systems Engineer, and she explains why NASA are so enthusiastic.
On this planet, everywhere we find water, we find life. And so we think that there's this massive ocean of water underneath the ice on Europa is just, how could you resist, you know? So we think that Europa has that water. That's one of the key ingredients for life, along with the chemistry and the energy and the time. It's been kind of simmering away for a long time.
Sure.
It's a great place to go explore.
This is the 8th probe that's been sent to Jupiter, but Europa Clipper will be the first to focus on the moon, including close flybys that will provide detailed data. Former NASA astronaut Chris Hadfield says it's hard to know just yet what exactly the probe will find.
We may or may not be able to tell that this is really a life-nurturing environment. We may or may not be able to detect any sort of positive indications of life, but, step by step. And this is something that NASA and the scientists have been planning for decades. And so there's a lot of people relieved right now that the SpaceX rocket has done its job and put it on the right trajectory.
The Europa Clipper was launched using a SpaceX Heavy rocket, and in a new development, SpaceX demonstrated a new ability for its Heavy technology. They managed to catch the returning Heavy booster using something that looks more or less like a giant arcade game, but that has huge potential to make space flight more cost efficient. Dereck is the chief astronomer at the Franklin Institute, and he told CBS News that developing reusable boosters could be a game changer when it comes to interplanetary exploration.
Reusability of spacecraft for future space exploration is extraordinarily important because reusability drives down the cost of space exploration. What SpaceX plans to do in the future for this spacecraft capability, though, is to take astronauts out to Mars.
Back in the glory days of tech companies, it was all about pool tables at work, in-house gyms and 5-star restaurants. But as times have gotten tougher, the perks at big tech seem to have gotten slimmer. When it comes to cranky billionaires, there's only one man we want going through the meta bins in search of receipts, and that's the Smart 7's tech guru, Will Guyatt. So Will, why is Mark Zuckerberg firing people this week?
There's been another round of layoffs this week at Meta, with workers across Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and its virtual reality division Reality Labs all impacted. And while the layoffs aren't as big as the company's big redundancies earlier in the year, where 10,000 jobs were cut, we haven't yet had confirmation of how many people have gone this time. But one of the reasons people have been cut appears to be for the abuse of employee perks. Meta feeds all of its employees up to 3 times a day, and at its HQ in Menlo Park, California, it had something like 9 different restaurants. But in smaller offices, staff get meal vouchers to order from local eateries, and it sounds like people worked out they could get shopping like toothpaste, washing powder, and even some lovely wine glasses for home, or even spending more than their intended amount. And according to an anonymous social media message board, over 30 people were sacked for abuse of this process. Meta confirmed job cuts in general this week with this word salad quote: "A few teams at Meta are making changes to ensure resources are aligned with their long-term strategic goals and location strategy." What on earth does that mean?
Seems a little on the mean side, no? Are things that tough at Meta?
I'm actually torn here. Meta still makes billions of dollars and is investing millions in AI and its future, but rules are rules. It's even been suggested that one of those people cooking the benefits package was earning over $400,000 a year, and that's before skimming some extra washing powder from their employer.
Speaking of cranky billionaires, it hasn't been a great week for our friend Elon Musk, has it? He had a lavish event last week to show off his new Optimus robots, but things didn't quite add up, did they?
He might be the world's richest man, and one of his other companies might be catching rockets literally coming back in from space, but Elon Musk needed a win. Some have been suggesting that Tesla's been falling behind other car and tech companies, so he's hosted this big media event to unveil its robo-taxi, robo-van, and this Optimus robot, which looks like it's walked off the set of that Will Smith iRobot movie from the mid-2000s. Musk talked up the robots as being one of the biggest product launches ever and suggested it was going to do everything from mowing your lawn to being your friend, and they were serving cocktails at the event and other tasks, all apparently powered by AI. That was until sources revealed to Bloomberg this week that the robots were partly controlled remotely by human Tesla employees.
So are they robots or just giant puppets?
Well, we knew this was an early glimpse, but Elon completely forgot to tell the audience that humans were helping the robots with their tasks at the launch. And these robots were there purely to build investor demand for Tesla. As has been the way for many previous Elon Musk launches, let's just say he can be quite optimistic on dates or new features. Tesla drivers have been waiting almost 7 years for the autonomous self-driving features he promised would be available on Tesla vehicles.
And what about the weird robo-taxi and robo-van? Are they any more real?
The idea of these new robo-vehicles is actually pretty cool. They're going to be relatively low cost, and Elon Musk even suggests that you'd be able to buy them and send them out on the streets to make money for you. Now, there's no legal mechanism to do that, so that might just be more Elon Musk claptrap. But he's suggesting the robo-taxi will come out for $30,000 in 2027. It looks strangely retro-modern. It has got no steering wheel, and it actually has some kind of weird white IKEA-like lounge chairs in it rather than typical seats you see in cars. Now, it looks cool, but I'm telling you, this robo-taxi wouldn't last one Friday night shift in Swindon. Now, there were around 20 of these taxis and a couple of the vans doing test journeys around a tightly controlled test loop track at the launch event, but we currently only have Elon Musk's word that they will actually launch or that he's actually working on them.
And finally, speaking of inventions that aren't quite as useful as you might think, what have Kindle been up to?
Just like Dre, it's easy to forget the Kindle, but Amazon were there back in the day before tablets with that month-long battery, so they've always been a worthy product for voracious readers. That said, it was a surprise to see a whole new range of Kindles launching, including one with a colour screen. That means you're soon going to be able to look at all the photos from Jamie Oliver's latest cookbook, or the childhood pics from that hilarious book from the TV comedian who's flogging something for Christmas. We've also got new versions of their other models too. Expect them all to be more lightweight. There's AI tools in the Scribe version where you make notes with the accompanying pencil, and larger screens and enhanced battery life across the range. These improvements are everywhere.
Is there a reason for a colour Kindle?
There's a huge community around Kindle and fans love their devices, so Amazon wasn't going to release a colour version until battery life and technology meant it wasn't just a tablet by another name. This colour Kindle has an 8-week battery, which is good going for a colour screen that's able to show you photos. Amazon reckon they can sell plenty of these colour models and the ebooks to go with it. These new Kindles start going on sale over the next couple of weeks, just in time for Thanksgiving in the US and for Christmas across the rest of the world.
Still to come on the Sunday 7, the government considers weight loss jabs for the unemployed, and Spain's olive oil producers get creative. We've seen a lot of search and coverage of the new weight loss drugs, which are broadly described as semaglutides. They're sold under brand names like Wegovy and Ozempic, and they appear to be one of the most significant pharmaceutical innovations in recent years, with dramatic effects including weight loss but also other potential health benefits. Now their success has seen the new Labour government take an interest, announcing an investment this week in a pilot scheme with manufacturer Lilly that will see weight loss trials in Manchester, and Health Secretary Wes Streeting has suggested that there could be widespread rollout aimed at getting those who are struggling with obesity back to work. Prime Minister Keir Starmer says obesity remains a huge pressure point on the NHS.
This drug will be very helpful to people who want to lose weight, need to lose weight. Very important for the economy so that people can get back into work. Very important for the NHS because, as I've said time and again, yes, we need more money for our NHS, but we've got to think differently. We've got to reduce the pressure on the NHS.
Former Tory Health Minister Lord Bethell was warning that weight loss drugs are not a straightforward solution, and that the government also needs to tackle the companies making and selling junk food.
It will cost a lot of money. There's no getting away from that. We've got a huge obesity problem. This isn't a miracle cure that's going to cheaply solve that. I do really encourage our politicians to show moral courage in this. They've got to look down the barrel of the camera and say to the nation, we have got a big obesity problem. We all need to collectively change our behaviours.
Dame Clara Gerada, who is the former president of the Council of GPs, is also sceptical that simply providing weight loss jabs will solve the health issues of the UK.
I would rather have a proper obesity strategy that starts from infancy, that starts with children's food, that maybe introduces a sugar tax for children's food, and to start to look at the whole area of obesity, which isn't just about individual responsibility, but it's about responsibility of our government to make sure that there are healthy choices that are the cheaper choice.
The last couple of years have seen a global energy crisis, with the war in Ukraine and sanctions on Russia driving oil and gas prices to record levels. It's had a huge impact on households and businesses across the world. One of the industries that's been working on alternative solutions is Spain's olive oil producers. Spain provides half of the world's olive oil, and the Andalucia region produces 80% of that, so it's a key area for olive growing. Now local farmers are focused on reducing their carbon footprint and recycling as much of the olive as they can to cut down on energy use and save on energy bills. Jimenez Zamora explains to Reuters how they're becoming more efficient.
We produce olive oil and we convert the olive stones into biomass, which we use to heat up the swimming pool, the underfloor heating system, and to have hot water in the toilets during winter. Here we have the boiler, and from here it goes to a device that takes it into the heater. Here's a tube that feeds air to the serpentine, so it brings the olive stone inside and starts to heat up. Here is where we burn it and start heating this other part of the boiler, and from here is where the hot water passes. And from this other tube is where cold water passes. And then we go to the other part of the house.
Still to come on the Sunday 7, a new innovation in AI to tackle Alzheimer's, and shark hunting in Europe.
Right after this.
Explaining football to the friend who's just there for the nachos? Hard. Tailgating from home like a pro with snacks and drinks everyone will love? An easy win. And with Instacart helping deliver the snack time MVPs to your door, you're ready for the game in as fast as 30 minutes. So you never miss a play or lose your seat on the couch or have to go head-to-head for the last chicken wing. Shop game day faves on Instacart and enjoy $0 delivery fees on your first 3 grocery orders. Offer valid for a limited time. Other fees and terms apply.
Welcome back.
As AI technology develops, we're seeing more new and innovative uses crop up. And this week saw a new application which uses AI to create an avatar designed to help those with dementia. The Live avatar is intended to engage in natural and unscripted conversations with patients, offering help and support on daily tasks or discussing the diagnosis with loved ones. It's built using real data from real patients, and Steve Milton, Director of Innovations in Dementia, is on the line to explain more. Where did this idea come from, Steve?
Well, for about 8 years, we've been running a project called Dementia Diaries, which collects audio and video diaries made by people with dementia. And Lenovo came to us to create a virtual avatar that can provide support.
What was the process of creating the avatar?
Well, the avatar was based on the face of an actress. Then the images of 10 of the people with dementia that had been involved in the project were used to slightly morph her features. So what you actually see on screen is an amalgam of the actress and facial features of real people with dementia.
How was real patient data incorporated, and were the accounts gathered specifically for this project?
Well, the dementia diaries that we used to train Liv have been collected over the last 8 or so years. But we've also held specific focus groups asking them, what kind of questions they might have asked when they were first sat at home following their diagnosis.
How might Liv affect the people that use it?
People with dementia often tell us that at the time they get diagnosed, they're often left with the sense that their life is effectively over. And we hope what Liv can do is to give the strong message that it is possible to live well, even with dementia.
What information and data might this generate for future research or tools?
We're very much at the proof of concept stage at the moment. We wanted to see, can we take this data to train a form of artificial intelligence that just has a more positive, more proactive approach to living with dementia than a lot of the resources that people currently have access to.
Petra in Jordan is one of the wonders of the world. Its distinctive carving out of pink sandstone has made it one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, and you may even have caught a glimpse of it in Steven Spielberg's Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade. But there's even more to the 130-foot high carving and the city that it sits in than we previously realised. Archaeologists have discovered an ancient tomb beneath the city, which contained 12 full skeletons and a treasure trove of artefacts made out of bronze, iron and ceramics. It's estimated that the remains are about 2,000 years old and date back to the Nabatean kingdom, as Professor Richard Bates from the St Andrews School of Earth and Environmental Science explained to Times Radio.
There's an awful lot of investigation yet to go with these bodies. I mean, what we do know is we did take material to date around the burials, and that places the burial date right at the middle of the Nabatean kingdom then. So we know that they were people living around then, and of course it's in such an iconic building that they wouldn't have been just any ordinary people to be in such a splendid setting. So, we know a little bit about them, but we don't know as much as we hope we will do eventually.
When we think about great white sharks, we're probably picturing a California beach full of surfers, or maybe the beaches of Sydney, Australia. But it turns out there might be more to sharks out there, and they could be closer than you think. American non-profit group Osearch have dedicated themselves to tracking great white sharks around the world, and they're convinced that they're in Mediterranean waters. They've been hunting across Spanish waters and are now looking off the coast of France near Brittany, a location that Osearch founder Chris Fischer, yes, that's his real name, believes could well play host to a European great white shark.
When you're talking about the UK and Ireland, the scientists will say they're not there. You talk to the commercial fishermen, they'll tell you they're there. We know we not only need to solve the puzzle of the white shark's lives and help people understand how important they are the lion of the ocean, the wolf, the balance keeper. If we don't see a lot of sharks, the recovering seal population is going to decimate your fish stocks. So you will lose all your mackerel here, you will lose your sea bass here, you will lose a lot of your crustaceans here. The seals will just wipe it out. The key is try to get some tags on some of these before it's too late.
This has been the Sunday 7. Wherever you're listening, do us a favour and hit the follow button. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. with the regular Smart 7. Have a great rest of your weekend. Written, produced and published by Daft Doris.
If there's one thing that my family and friends know me for, it's being an amazing gift giver. I owe it all to Celebrations Passport from 1-800-Flowers.com, my one-stop shopping site that has amazing gifts for every occasion. With Celebrations Passport, I get free shipping on thousands of amazing gifts. And the more gifts I give, the more perks and rewards I earn. To learn more and take your gift giving to the next level, visit 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST.